Right away, we have this mic. Just get rid of it. Just cut it out. Not his head, the mic. And also too, you have the light right there. Let's avoid this. Let the gym influencers walk around with these mics, but you're a professional filmmaker. Don't settle. In today's video, I am going to be reviewing your interview setups. I got so many sent to me, I'm gonna try to do as many as I can. But just before we get in that, one quick tip for lighting interviews. It's just $20 and this is gonna change everything for you. Go on Amazon and buy this. I'm actually using it right now. It's just a diffusion sheet. I think it's like usually less than $20. And these close pegs. Well, they're not close pegs, they're pony clamps, tiny little pony clamps. I recommend putting this on all your lights. Most of the light diffusion that you get out of the box that comes with your light, in my opinion, just isn't soft enough. And typically for interviews, you want softer light on your subject's face, and you wanna get that soft light nice and close. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see with people is their lighting's too harsh and they have the light so far away, so it's just casting really ugly shadows. Okay, first interview, this is from Karim. When I go through your interviews, here's the first few things I'm looking for. I'm looking for lighting ratios, color contrast, eye line, framing, and overall lighting quality. So for lighting quality, it's soft, but the contrast ratio here, I just wish it's just a bit flat. We don't have anything on this side of her face, no shadow. I'm not really getting any sense of depth around her. All the lighting's flat. And when I look at this waveform, I'm kind of seeing it all take place in a very similar location. We're not getting much dynamicism on her face. And when I actually look at the shot as well, this background is brownish beige, same as her skin tone. There isn't overall contrast. But look at the second shot here. Right away, this is the shadow side, and here's what we've done. We've actually crossed her eye line. You can see in the wide shot here, she is looking from left to right. And so our second angle should continue that. She should be looking from left to right. This is what's called jumping the axis. And you can see here, she's now looking right to left. So what's confusing about that is it feels like almost like a different room, a different space. The shots don't cut well together. Imagine that there is a line through the room and you're gonna have all your cameras on that one side. This will help with the cohesion of the editing, and it will also make us not confused because it won't look like the person is talking to themselves. Whenever you're making a film, you want your edits to work seamlessly and never bring attention to themselves. Okay, next interview here. You'll see that he actually did do this. We'll show where he has our wide shot here. The person's looking from left to right in frame. You can see their eyes are going this way. And if we go to his tight shot, they're looking the same way. So these two would cut together very easily. Overall, this is probably, out of everything you're going to see, one of the best interviews. I love how soft this lighting is. We have a nice little ratio here. We do have great contrast. It's not a ton, but it looks like overall the style that the cinematographer was going was a less contrasty shot, but beautiful, giant soft light. And it's casting really beautiful soft shadows, really complementary. Wouldn't matter how wrinkly a person's skin with this type of lighting, they're gonna look great. But really like this shallow depth of field here, it's drawing me into the person. What I also like about this shot is even though we have this brown here, which is similar to his skin tone, that in that tan orange world, we've broken it up with some green. This is a big thing I saw in a lot of these interviews, is people didn't think about color contrast. And this is why you want RGB lights. Sometimes if your background is all orange, you're gonna wanna throw a blue light on it. But overall, this is the top tier. This is beautiful. Moving on, whoa. Wow. Back to another elaborate setup here. This is from Tacklock interview. Sorry, you didn't put your name in the video file. Maybe your name is Tacklock. I love when people send me the video files and they put for Mark Bone. I know it's for me. You don't need to say that. What I need is your name so I know who made this. What's your name? For Mark Bone. Beautiful wide shot, stunning wide shot. My only thing I would say is I would love to see his foot. It's kind of cut off here. You've embraced the wide shot. If there was any way to back up a bit more and just show me his foot. Beautiful, grainy footage. You know, he is still one of the brighter things. You're gonna be kind of fighting this window back here. Perhaps you could have pumped a bit more light on him to bring down the darkness of the background. Depends your choice for the story. Ooh, we got a slider here. Little tiny slider. We're getting advanced here. Okay, I'm just gonna nitpick because it is such a great interview. You have beautiful soft lighting. Again, this is obviously a really large source because we can see the same level of softness on the face here is landing on the body. Just great, great lighting. I think you would have had a great gaffing team here. You can tell you've hazed out the room. We have some beamage coming through the window here. This was care. This would have taken a couple hours to light at least, and it's obviously that you guys care about this shot. Well, the one thing I would say, if I'm gonna nitpick, is maybe a tiny bit of a kick light. You can kind of see, it's no longer here, but earlier in this, I had a little bit more of a kick light because I had a hard angle of the light coming out of there. It doesn't have to be a full backlighting like I'm having on top of my head here, but if right on this side of the face, you just had a tiny little kick, you might be able to sneak it in there. On the wide, that would be tough, but you could overhang it. That would be my only thing, but overall, I'm not looking at it going, I wish he had a bigger kick there. When you start adding in too many lights, it can start feeling kind of fake, but overall, just beautiful work. I'm so impressed.
Wow.
If you want to kind of see how to set up an interview, we go into this extensively in the Cinematic Eye. This is our cinematography course, part of the AOD Academy. We have many different videos in that about how to frame and set up your interviews, where to place people, how to use 2 cameras. And our doors are opening very soon to join the Art of Documentary. You can jump on our wait list or follow us on Instagram for any more details on that. Also, we're giving away an FX6. Whenever we open the doors for Art of Documentary, we always give away a camera package. And so I'm actually headed to Africa tomorrow to give this away to the last winner. But if you want more details on that, we'll be announcing that very soon. So follow us on Instagram or stay locked to this channel and I'll be letting you know how you can enter in to win this camera package. All right, back to more interview tips. All right, let's do John Kuhn. There's a few things we're gonna review. Let's talk about what's working well. Your subject is the brightest person in the frame. That's usually what you're going for in an interview. If you have really bright other areas in the scene, it can be distracting. You did not shoot into the shadow side. We would wanna see the shadow. It looks like you have a big, nice, soft light, and they would wanna see that dynamic shadow on that person's side. Also too, always bring a lint roller when your person is wearing black, like I should have done. I'm just seeing some loose hairs here and lots of things on their shirt. You as a cinematographer, you as a filmmaker, wardrobe is also your responsibility. I would also say here, hide the mic. Just hide your mics. I know it's become this thing with influencers where they'll walk around with iPhones or they'll have these Rode mics, these big things just sticking out of their necks. It's my pet peeve. It's my absolute pet peeve. When you're talking with someone, they don't have a mic sticking out of their face. When you're making a film, you want people to forget that they're watching a film. So hide the mic. And if you're in Art of Documentary, we have a whole section about how to hide your mic and how to do it properly. So that's in module 1. I would definitely say, John, that you have great potential with this interview. Just remember, shoot in the shadow and hide that mic, and your next interview is gonna be fantastic. All right, let's do another one here, just going through. This is, I don't know who did this. You didn't put your name in it. You put my name in it. I didn't make it. You made it. Put your name in your video files. This shot here, we're lower than her eye line. That's a statement. She's an athlete. She wears a whoop also. So maybe that's what you're trying to show. She's a strong athlete. I can tell that you probably just used a window light here. Overall, if you're gonna do this, if you're just gonna commit to using a window light, you still wanna be able to control your window light. So her arms here are kind of, to me, the brightest part of the shot, where her face, we wanna draw this. So either in post, just do a gradient filter here, just really subtly bring this down, or grab that skin color, which could even maybe grab some of this of the bed here and bring that down, like draw us to her face. Or you can, again, get some diffusion and start cutting light off. Just buying a couple of these tools off of the internet, just to have in your bag. Pony clamps, ND filter, diffusion, black wrap, any of these things that can help you shape the lighting goes a long way. And I think you have a second shot in this interview. Yeah, this is kind of a cool setup. I think she's a cyclist here, or maybe it's like the Saw movies. I don't mind the lighting on her face. Again, would love to see some shadow on the side. We're looking at that side. If you brought this light just a bit more over to the side, actually, that light is on the other side of her face, and then we're casting the shadow here. Tisk tisk, let's move that over to the other side. So again, we're looking at the shadow. And then why not place her just a bit more into this alley? You have these beautiful leading lines here. I would have just pushed her a bit more over to that side and then brought the camera around a little more. Your frames are a painting. Your interview is often the most important part of your film. Take time to craft it, perseverate, stress over it in the moment. Let's keep going here. We got a really wide shot here from Hayden Idris. I don't mind a wide shot. I don't mind a big, bold interview, but right away, we have this mic. Just get rid of it. Just cut it out. Not his head, the mic. And also too, you have the light right there. It screams amateur. It looks like you're have some taste here as an artist when how you framed this, and then throwing one of those Rode mics. Let's avoid this. Let the gym influencers walk around with these mics, but you're a professional filmmaker. You're not shooting a podcast, you're shooting a film. Don't settle.
Amen.
Also, bright lamp. This is where you want to bring a couple tools in your kit as a filmmaker. A couple gels that can soften things. I always bring a dimmer just off of Amazon. I buy a dimmer and I plug them into lights and I dim it. If it starts to flicker, then that's when I need to put ND filter in there. You could literally tape your ND from your lens if you need to onto a light to dim it. I like that you put a table in. I would have come up a bit more. Your shot here, we're below the eye line. Now we're looking up to him. Try to get your camera as often as possible eye level, unless you're trying to express something about someone. Low shots make the person look domineering. High shots make the person look small. This is what is cinematically communicated to our audience. This is your second shot here, Hayden. Underlighting, again, that's a choice. It's not the choice I necessarily would want to do because it casts shadows up people's faces, which is always kind of reminds us of those spooky ghost stories. This is not really how lighting works in life. We rarely have lighting coming up at us unless you're like walking on a boardwalk, and then you can see lighting underneath just casts weird shadows, which we're kind of getting some of that on her. And I'm not sure what this is all about. I like that this is dark because it's drawing my eyes to it. You could get in post-production and just darken this down, add a bit of a vignette. But again, my eyes are being drawn here to these boxes and they're not all that beautiful. So I would kind of think about making more of a cove. As you can see, like I've tried to create a bit more of a shadow cove here. Oh man, that sunset, just, I'm so glad I kept the window open. Okay, this is from Michael Peacock. We have an interview here. Here's our main angle. So doing the Interrotron, looking directly into the camera lens, and then we have this tight angle. Overall, decent enough lighting, I would say. What I think you could have done, like I said, is maybe just throw one more layer of diffusion on this shot, maybe get a bigger source. I can look at the catch light in her eyes right here, and I can already tell it's a smaller source. If it was a bigger source, you'd be getting a bigger reflection. You can see in my glasses here just how big the reflection is from this bigger source. So I would say, get something softer, bring it in closer. I'm also feeling like she's sitting too low in the frame. Framing is so important for me. I'm so picky. It's a bit of a personal choice, but you're looking here, she's kind of sitting low, like this headroom doesn't bother me, but her eyes are getting closer to this 50% mark of the frame. You don't really want people sitting down there unless it's a huge, huge wide. Anytime you're getting into the medium and close-ups, start looking to put the person's eyes 3/4 of the way up in the frame. And then this other shot here, this second shot that we have, it's just too tight. It's not that you can't be this tight, but again, it's the framing. We just have so much forehead here. We're cutting off her chin. Her mouth is what we'd probably be looking at next to her eyes. It's dipping near the bottom of the frame. I would just back off this camera. You can always punch in closer like this in post-production, but give yourself a little more breathing room. All right, let's just do a few more. This is a tough shot going into direct, like hard sunlight. You can see these windows are working better with their dappling. I mean, one thing you might have been able to do is to duplicate that over in post, bring it over here. You have pumped a lot of light onto her face. So kudos to you on that, because otherwise these could have been even more bright. This window is a bit unfortunate how bright it is. If you had ND, you could have, but maybe there was another place in the room you could have pushed her over to. Don't love that the chandelier is kind of coming out of her head. It kind of looks like a hat. Kind of looks like a continuation of her hair. Perhaps placed her in front of this, although you'd be fighting these poles. I can see that you probably thought about this. Actually, here's what I would have done. I would have brought the camera around, pointed it from this side and shot into this corner. That's my assumption of what would have worked. And then you would have lost this big white window right beside her face, competing for attention. You wouldn't have had the chandelier in her face. We probably would have had a darker background. And she's like a real estate lady, I believe, from this opening shot here. Oh, no, she's a deer care? Dental care, deer care. We all need to care for our deers. So yeah, it's a dental care place. We want it bright. We want to feel like teeth are bright. So I appreciate that you do have this beautiful bright, and bright doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get a harsher light. Beautiful lighting. If I was a client, I would say, ha, I look great. Just giving you that quick lessons again. Watch your contrast ratios, making sure that there actually is contrast in your shot, unless you're just trying to go for a soft overall look. Look for color contrast. This is how you help your person stand out. Soften your light. Big sources, bring them in close. add more diffusion. These are just really simple tricks for you to get that. Told you about that piece of diffusion that's like 15 bucks on Amazon. I buy like 10 of them every year and just have them for all my lights, put it on top of all my lights, getting it softer. Then watch your headroom, 75%, that's kind of like where I like to put my eyes. And just always make sure your person is the brightest thing in the frame. Unless you want them to be shrouded in mystery, make them the brightest part. Thank you for everyone who sent those. I really wish I could have reviewed all of yours. If I didn't get to yours, perhaps bug me on Instagram. I'll see what I can do. No promises, but thank you for sending this. I loved seeing everyone's videos here. Man, I wish I could give everyone their advice. Like, just such beautiful work that all of you did. Like the soft lighting, beautiful. Anyways, I hate goodbyes, but I think I just really love red meat. I'm all about it. Sorry if you're vegan on this channel, nothing against you. Just, I really love red meat. It's the best. So nutrient dense. Anyways, see you in the next one.